Hello everybody, my name is Kevin Smith and welcome once again to my little cosmic clutter room in my corner of the cosmos. I managed to just about get one of the new books in the screenshot, as you can see. We have Rebazar Your Dream Visions, which is new book 6. And the individual you can see depicted on the front is Rebazar Tars, one of the real universal guides. The universal guides, of course, being the intermediaries between the all-is and individuals in creation struggling to become more aware. The real universal guides stand real with the all-is and seek individuals who display a degree of courage and risk-taking that they will then give them the opportunity to become aware, and also the chance to then stand real with the all-is through a process of awareness and recognition, a gradual unfolding and recognition of what everybody is already, a real being of light, standing real in the real universes of the all-is, beyond creation. But anyway, the topic for today, I was going to start with a dream. The dreams that we have are on what we term the real side. For most people, these are just dismissed as irrelevant imagery. And a lot of times I will find that when you go to sleep, it seems that whatever you have been subjected to, or whatever you have been focusing on, particularly prior to sleep, will feature firstly in your dream arena. It seems then that there are obviously much by way of subliminals constantly bombarding us. Our subconscious ethereal vehicle, which is our 5th life level vehicle, is constantly bombarded by subliminals from endless sources, primarily those from technological sources, such as the television and the computers and internet, and anything else that you can imagine that is technologically based. For much of the programming that occurs and the maintenance of the systems that we see in place and the agreement to them that is culminating in a deterioration of this planet and creation and continuing to do so, the maintenance of the ideas from which this destruction stems from is maintained through agreement. Much of the agreement is locked into the causal body, as we have all had millions of lifetimes in creation, and as the creation is very heavily controlled by individuals who have chosen positions of authority and control over others, and manage to garner everybody's agreement to their control, they have sought to continuously indoctrinate their slaves and program them through various means, religions, spiritual paths, etc., and in more recent times the schooling systems, in order that individuals will have constantly been agreeing to their position, because in their causal memory body will be the storehouse of all their past life experiences, and all the experiences will be based on the agreement to ideas, as ideas that are created by an individual, what they focus on, what they project, their thoughts and emotions, etc., their goals and ambitions, will result in cause and effect time phases of their own making. These provide them experiences, and all these experiences are stored in the causal body, which is the third vehicle on the third level of creation. All these experiences are for the purposes of becoming more aware, to better recognize the All Is. If viewed objectively, and from a position of real awareness, from a place of indifference, then they would simply be experiences, and we would regard them without becoming immersed in them. But most people, until they begin to become more aware, will add ideas and thoughts and considerations. They will activate their personal self, the vehicles that incorporate it in creation, to colour the experience, to add more to what it initially is, and the emotions will further add more elements to it, and so the experiences are all stored in the causal body, along with all the thoughts and ideas we have attached to it, along with emotions. So all our experiences are generally emotionally charged ideas. Since all experiences that enter our life are as a result of an initial idea, we can see then we are simply adding more ideas on top of ideas. As everything in creation is created, we can say then that everything we choose to project, be it a thought, an emotion, a goal, an ambition, a desire, is basically an idea. And these ideas will result in cause and effect. If we stand in creation and we are not aware and not standing in the new nowness of the All Is beyond creation, these cause and effect time phases of our own making that stem from the ideas we project and create will result in experience that becomes our life. And so we can see that everything in our life and everything in everybody's lives are of their own making. They are effectively standing in what they have created, which stems from ideas that they have created and agreed to. The cause and effect principle of creation comes into effect, and then the experience must be walked through. And so the experiences then form what will be their lives, and these experiences will be constantly projected, as people are constantly projecting thoughts and ideas and emotions. They are constantly not only creating but agreeing to their creations, and so they are constantly making experiences for themselves. The experiences will not only be of this lifetime, but projected into future lifetimes. And so we are constantly creating experiences that could span thousands of future lifetimes. But at any moment, if we so choose, we can step into the newness of the All Is and connect to our real selves. We can stand real, and so we can instantly choose to sidestep this constant cause and effect experience, and so we cease projecting into the future. We will always be creating something, even if we are connected to our real self. But the difference is, we are projecting ideas that are more so of a beneficial nature. And besides, if we have the real intent to become more aware and supersede creation, then the karma or cause and effect consequences of the ideas we are creating are taken care of. They are erased, as long as we are sincere and have the recognition of our real intent, the real intent being to recognize the true reality of the all is, and have no agendas or little personal intents coming to play. For the more we cater to the personal self, the more we indulge it, excuse me, the more we step into creation, and the cause and effect therefore applies, and we are subjected then to experiences of our own making. It's not just our ideas that create our experiences. Everybody is creating their own lives, based on what they decide, what they choose, their ideas, and the cause and effect experiences that follow. But other people's ideas and creations can infringe upon us. This can only happen if we agree to them. And so we can see that if enough people agree to an idea, then all these people will collectively share this experience that will stem from the cause and effect that is the result of the initial idea. In this way we can see that the world effectively is a reflection of the nature of the initial idea. And so, if the world is very dire and abrasive, whatever the original idea is that is agreed to by the majority of the people, therefore resulting in mass cause and effect, which will then bring this world into reality for all the people who have agreed to this original idea, we can see how the world that we collectively live in is due to the fact that the majority of the people here, wherever they may be on this world or throughout creation, the nature of their collective experience will be based on the nature of the idea which everybody is collectively agreeing to, which results in the cause and effect and the experience that will then be everybody's. And so, at this current time, it is apparent that the ideas being agreed to, the ones are produced by those and created by those that wish to control others, the world controllers. These ideas are based along the lines of destruction and demise. They are not of a beneficial nature, even though they may be marketed to be so. And so, everybody agreeing with these ideas, consciously or unconsciously, as they have been indoctrinated to be in agreement with these ideas throughout their lifetimes, and this is then ingrained in their causal bodies as agreed to ideas and tap lines, we can see that this world then becomes so. The world is deteriorating, it is on a demise, because the original ideas are based on this outcome and desire. The only way to bypass this situation is to become more aware. As we become more aware individually and step into the new nowness of the All Is, we supersede creation. We dissolve all the old agreements and tap lines which restrict us, and that which maintains the state of the world and also causes its deterioration, as all these old agreements throughout human history will be along the lines of agreeing to systems that have been put in place that stem from the ideas of the controllers, who are taking humanity and the world down a particular path of their choosing. And so the singing of the New You song and the connection to the real self beyond creation will dissolve firstly these old agreements and tap lines and emotional attachments to the ideas also, and also it will prevent the subliminal, subconscious programming. The subconscious programming will be a constant, as we are always bombarded with the subliminals, as we are always surrounded by technology in some form or another. But now we have superseded our body vehicles. We still have them and must carry the personal self around with us until we need it no longer, but we are now connected to our real self, the real us in the real universes of the All Is, which supersedes creation and is effectively the governor, if you will, of the 5 vehicles. And since, if we are standing real beyond creation, and all programming can only occur within creation, we are now beyond the programming. And yes, our physical body will still be bombarded, but we will no longer be unconsciously or consciously or agreeing to this programming. And so we can see, if the world as it stands is based on the collective agreement to ideas which are along the lines of demise and control, then that is the world we will have and all experience. However, if the collective majority were to become more aware, stand in the new nowness, be connected with the All Is, they would be beyond the programming and dissolve and remove all the old agreements to all the old ideas, most of which have been implemented and indoctrinated throughout the ages by the controllers, and be standing beyond their ability to continuously, subconsciously program us again for this end. So awareness is the only way. Any other way is impossible. We cannot fight the system, and even if we protest against it, if we are not connected to our real selves, if we stand only in our personal self, and therefore are only in creation, then regardless of how we feel about the system, regardless of how outspoken we are, regardless of how we protest or spread the information about the controllers and their ill deeds, yes, this is important, as people need to know this, but we are being subconsciously programmed to agree to it, and all the agreements we have made from the ideas that have been created throughout history will still be present and be operating from our causal vehicle. And therefore we can see that awareness is the only way. Based on this model of cause and effect that stems from agreement to ideas or creations of ideas of our own making, and then the experience that follows, we can see that we are the creator of everything in our lives, individually and collectively, if the majority of the people are agreeing to the same idea, then this will be their collective experience. There will be slight unique differences from one person's experience to the other. This is simply due to each individual uniquely creating their own personal ideas, which add their own unique flavour to their experience. But they will generally be still operating within the collective experience, because everybody is programmed to agree to the world we see around us. And so, if we are constantly creating our situation here and perpetuating it, and obviously it stands to reason then that the original ideas put forward by the controllers have been changing over the centuries, for if the ideas and creations did not change, then the agreement to them, to the non-changing ideas, would have the world remaining exactly the same. This is how things change, how we go through eons and epochs even, because the initial ideas that are being agreed to collectively by the majority of the individuals in creation are changing, and so the cause and effect experience that follows must change too. And we can see then the nature of the original ideas, or what the ideas that are being agreed to en masse are, based on the world and creation that we are in. And so, individually, we are always projecting something. We are chucking thoughts and emotions, desires and fantasies out there without really being very conscious of them. If we focus on something, then eventually we will have it, regardless of what it is, because this is the nature of creation. Everybody has free will to decide and choose whatever they want, and enough focus on a particular goal, regardless of what it is, will result in the cause and effect, which will bring about the experience that is in alignment with the original focused idea, if the focus on it is maintained. Most people fluctuate from one idea, one goal, one desire from another, and so, because of the density of the physical level and the time it then takes to manifest, people tend to get bored and try something else. And so we can see how very focused individuals get and attain what they seek, because they continuously focus on the idea, on their created idea, and the cause and effect will continue to take them along the lines. They will continue to have all the experiences, all the doors will open that will lead them inexorably to their goal. Many times people will be focusing on things inadvertently, without considering that they are opening doors and creating a cause and effect, time phases that will lead them to what they are focusing on. For example, all the gaming people who are very obsessed with games, the individuals who play computer games on a daily basis, hours on end. Think of all that intense focus on the game, on the nature of the game, the specifics. Things along the lines of World of Warcraft, games and worlds in which they are fighting dragons and beasts, knights in shining armour and magical casters, etc. Their continued and sustained focus on this will be resulting in ideas, creations, thoughts and emotional attachment, which makes quite the potent mix, which will result in cause and effect projections that they will experience, not necessarily in this lifetime, as of course if they are focusing on some particular world or scenario or theme, if it is not available in this world, as it may not necessarily be, unless the collective or the vast majority of people have agreed to whatever it is, therefore it can be manifest. In absence of that, then the only other alternative is they will be projecting into a future lifetime. As we live in a universe, a creational matrix of endless possibility, anything is possible, because everything is based on agreement, and everything can be created. People have the free will to create whatever they want, and agree with the creations of this or others, and then it is made so, eventually, through the cause and effect principle which brings this experience into their lives. And so we can see that people focusing on something, if it is not available in the world they are currently in, then they will be aligning themselves with some world or part of the creational matrix universes that is more in alignment with that which they are constantly projecting. And interestingly enough, if this place doesn't exist in creation, an individual with enough focus on some sort of world or theme that isn't currently available will actually begin to create such a world. And imagine all the millions of World of Warcraft players constantly focusing on this sort of theme, this sort of game. They are in fact creating a world along the similar lines to this game somewhere in creation. And because they are currently stuck here in this lifetime, for the duration of it until their transition to their next lifetime, it's very likely that their focus on it will have them passing over when they do, going to the astral, the temporary, the place where most people will be, which are designated heavens, but they will be there only temporarily. They will not move further into the life levels because they will generally lack awareness and recognition, and then they will get bored and drift back into their next lifetime, a lifetime they have already created. For yes, at this very moment now, if an individual stands in creation and with their personal self only, has not connected to their real self and the real universes, and is standing with the all is in the new nowness, then they are constantly putting out thoughts and ideas. All their vehicles in creation are designed to do this, for this is the nature of creation. We create, we have experiences as a result, we have endless viewpoints and comparisons, and then we can begin to recognize the real universes after the lifetimes we require to get to this point. And so we can see. I've completely lost track of what I was saying. Yes, and so when unaware individuals pass over, they have already effectively created their next lifetime, as we are creating our lifetimes now, if we are unaware and are in our personal self only and constantly projecting our ideas and thoughts. As most of our thoughts and ideas are very routine and very samey and not particularly imaginative, because the indoctrination of this planet has suppressed imagination to a great degree. It has locked humanity into the literal personal self only. So people are mainly physical, astral and mental. And so what they are projecting are simply thoughts and emotion, and they tend to stem not far beyond the world and consideration of the experience that they have now, which is based on the agreement to ideas, generally those of the controllers. And that is why everybody's lives are so very mundane. Because if the original controller's ideas and creations are based on models of control, the agreement to these will result in very mundane and controlled and, quite frankly, boring lifetimes. If the imagination is brought into play and exercised a little more freely, we can see that even if we are disconnected from our real selves and real awareness, through our imagination, we can at least project ourselves perhaps into more exciting lifetimes, life positions, and into species and civilizations other than humanity. And as I was saying, individuals who are very obsessed with computer games such as World of Warcraft, not only individually can they be creating these worlds and dimensions where such scenarios and themes will be made manifest, but because of games such as World of Warcraft, which are played by so many millions of players, that combined focus is guaranteed to create this world. And it's very feasible then that all these World of Warcraft players have not only forged this world somewhere in the universe, somewhere in creation, but they have already projected a future lifetime and position for themselves in it. This sounds rather far-fetched, but this is how creation works. We create. We have cause and effect from the creations and ideas that we produce. We then experience this, and therefore the experiences we can have are unlimited, and the only limitation is quite literally our imagination. And this, as I was saying, is why many people's lives are very mundane, because imagination has been suppressed. And in fact we can see some of these virtual reality worlds, some of these computer game worlds, on the real side. For everything we see, everything we focus on, we become emotionally attached to and agree with. These, if given enough focus, can create these very worlds. All the Star Wars fanatics, for example, there will be worlds out there, and dimensional universes that are very along the lines of Star Wars, simply due to the combined focus of the individuals on it. So, movies and games of this nature, which have many millions of people focused upon them, this will make them very, very potent places indeed. And yes, the Star Wars fanatics are very likely to very possibly find themselves in such a place in the future, in a future life, just as much as World of Warcraft people will find themselves very possibly in a World of Warcraft world, and doing things very similar along the lines to which they did in the games, or the individuals did in the movies, such as Star Wars. The controllers are aware of this. They understand the nature of creation and how it works. They are aware to a degree, and they understand how to manipulate and control humanity through this cause and effect principle, and getting agreement to their ideas through indoctrination and programming. So effectively, they are getting humanity to create the world that they want. Since they represent such a minority in comparison with the rest of the individuals in creation, they cannot create this world without the agreement of the mass of the individuals. They need us to create the world that they want. And so we can see, through awareness, we can withdraw from this consent. And so the controllers will also be aware of how, through focus, they can have these other alternative worlds and dimensions created. This is where we can see predictive programming coming into play. Predictive programming can be described along these lines. Many have speculated how they place certain themes and ideas in the media and various other sources of information and entertainment, and somehow this results in it becoming a reality if we all bear witness to it and seem to agree with it unconsciously. And this is about correct, because if an idea is placed before us, if people agree to it, either consciously or are subconsciously programmed to do so, then whatever this idea is will become a reality. So yes, if certain themes are placed in movies, then, and even if the person isn't consciously aware of these things, they will still go into the unconscious, and agreement will be made to them, and cause and effect must follow an agreement, and the experience then follows that. And so the themes they do place in movies, if they are consistent, will come to pass. And this is very likely how they can shape humanity and shape the future of the planet, as we can see throughout the movies how certain themes were prevalent at certain times, and then 20 or so years later it became a reality because of the combined focus and agreement on these ideas and themes that were in the movies. And so the controllers are aware of this, and so everything you see, movies, computer games, any of this stuff that is on the internet, for all this technology is a distortion. It is based on an idea, and as it is along the same lines as all the other ideas which stem from that of control, which results in restriction and constriction of awareness, and therefore a deterioration and demise of creation, as awareness that does not expand, and in fact restricts, is restricted, will culminate in this being reflected in creation, and thus we move through the epochs to an inevitable implosion. And so the controllers, as I said, realise this, and will constantly put certain themes and movies in front of us. The technology, we can say, is black magic. It is a distortion. It is for no other means than another way of control. And we can therefore say that everything we see, computer games or movies, are in fact actual worlds and dimensions in potentiality. As I was saying, I have had dreams of this nature, for if you sing the New You song, you will have all sorts of experiences and demonstrations to not only help your awareness, but you will be granted endless viewpoints that will also assist in your process. You will see through the eyes of endless individuals, see from the viewpoint of many civilizations, dimensions and worlds and places, and you will effectively be taken all over the creational universes, all the 5 levels, and many past, future and present lifetimes and dimensions within the psych realms. For example, along the lines that I was speaking of, the worlds that we create due to our focus, that are being projected into future potential lifetimes and worlds and dimensions that all the individuals who are focusing on such games and movies may find themselves in, these can be visited on the real side as part of our experiences. Once I went to a virtual world, and it was very interesting. Not only were these individuals fighting dragons, togged out in armour, and battling goblins and things of this nature, so it was obviously based on their focus and therefore projection of a world not unlike the World of Warcraft, but more elements were involved also. It seems not that in this world, if they were slayed by a dragon or an orc, they would instantly be reconstituted and start again. So not only were the themes present, the dragons and such, but also the themes in the game. Things like endless lifetimes, that when you are killed by a bad creature, you can instantly start again. So the focus on all these elements had recreated almost exactly, literally, a computer game, and I stood there and watched all this before me, watched as these individuals died and instantly came back to life. I spoke with some of them, and told them the differences between their world here and mine. I said that where I lived, if one were to die here, they would pass on to their next position, and not be instantly returned and have endless lifetimes in this same position as these individuals did. They were quite incredulous, and thought me quite mad. So yes, I have seen first hand on the real side that these worlds do exist. The very other day I had another experience in a very similar type world, and in this world I was viewing through the eyes of one of the individuals, whereas in the other dream I just recounted, I was there but objectively viewing. I wasn't part of the world or participating as one of the individuals. Sometimes we will simply view worlds objectively and not be participating. Other times we will be one of the participants. So again, we can see how we are afforded endless viewpoints to give us endless objective views to assist in our process of becoming more aware. And so, on this occasion, I was actually one of the individuals, and was afforded therefore a subjective view. It seemed in this world it was a little again along the lines of a computer game, battling creatures, undergoing missions, opening treasure chests, and sneaking down into forbidden castles, and caves, and battling trolls, etc. There were a few variations in this game, in this world. You could instantaneously change your form. I was changing from one gender to another, and from one species to another, in accordance with the species and the variables that were available. And this feature we see in games also on this planet, on the physical level, how you can change the race of your game character or its gender. And this again was replicated in this dimension or world. And this again must have been some sort of projection resulting from the focus of individuals based on some game or other that resulted in the creation of this. And it may well be a world waiting there in actuality for these individuals to pass from their current position and find themselves there. And of course, if you are born into a world, you simply become in alignment with it. It is your normal, and everything in it, as far as you're concerned, is considered normal, because you are used to it. You are raised in this world, and anything outside the parameters of what you consider normal, which is based on your world, you would consider quite the opposite. As in the dream, where these individuals were amazed when I told them that, well, in my world you get one life, then you pass on to your next position. So as we can see, there are endless worlds, endless dimensions, endless possibilities. And people are constantly projecting and creating these worlds, dimensions and possibilities, and continued focus on these various worlds, themes and possibilities will result in them projecting themselves into a future lifetime which is in alignment with whatever they are focusing on. And so I will stop there for now. I was going to include a few more dreams, but I have gone over a little longer than I intended. I was going to stop at 30 minutes. But I've seemed to run up to about 50, so I will end it there for now, and I will look forward to speaking with you again. And so before I finish, I will sing the New You song, for remember, the New You song is the connection to the real universes of the All Is beyond creation. Singing this New You song will spark your process of becoming more aware, and through your awareness you will slowly and gradually begin to recognize the All Is, and eventually stand real in that new nowness. You will become with the Is, and the real universal guides will assist you and open up your dream arena, providing experiences and demonstrations for viewpoints, experiences and comparisons to better recognize the real universes. So remember, singing the New You 15 minutes or so before bed will open up your dream arena. So it's imperative to pay attention to your dreams and write them down in the morning. Recollect them as best you can, and discern what the dreams are demonstrating, for all the dreams will have demonstrations unique and perfectly catered to your individual self. And so interpreting them as best you can will allow you to glean the information that will help you become more aware. And then singing New You in the morning also, after waking for 15 minutes or so. And don't forget to visit the www.wonderfulworldwideeducators.com. You will find the Wonderful Worldwide Educators all over Facebook. We have regular Skypes throughout the week, and regular radio shows on Blog Talk Radio. So come and join us on Facebook and get involved. Turn up for some of the Skypes. And for the UK individuals and anybody any of my work associates or people who know me, we have a UK Skype every 2 weeks on Sunday, where we share our real side dream experiences. You are very welcome to attend. You don't have to feel pressured to say anything or share anything yourself. You can simply listen, but certainly the opportunity is there for you to participate and share your own unique real side dream experiences. This Skype is on every Sunday, and the UK time would be 6 PM for the UK people. And we had a Skype the Sunday just gone, I'm just checking my calendar, which would have been Sunday the 15th, and so our next scheduled Skype, well actually it's a Zoom call, will be on the 19th. So find me on Facebook and get in touch if you would like to participate in our UK Zoom call, and I will give you all the details. And so for now, I will leave it there and sing the New You song. New